Hello and welcome to what is hopefully the start of a new series on BBB. We've got back to boxing basics, and this debut edition, what are purse bids? That's the question we're going to be answering today. Was sparked by a conversation with my barber a few weeks ago, as you can probably see by this mop on the top of my head. It's been a while since I've seen him, but it's been a while since my hair's seen some scissors and some clippers. But a few weeks ago, when the the Dillian Whyte and Tyson Fury purse bids were coming to light, and it was going to be, the date was approaching, it had been delayed, there was a few complications. Um, my barber is very big UFC fan and a fairly knowledgeable boxing fan as well. Like we chatted about it, and he admitted to me that he sort of asked like, I don't know what purse bids are. I don't know what they actually mean. I obviously hear the term loads and this has gone to purse bids or these two promoters are putting bids in. Like, what does it mean? Where does it come from? What does it actually decide? So as a result of that conversation, I thought I'll put together a little series of videos. Obviously, this being the first, where maybe addressing some of the misconceptions or some of the things that we at BBB definitely feel like our followers obviously know the sport inside out, and even knowledgeable fans might be unsure of some of these things, but obviously new fans to the sport probably see a lot of this language and a lot of these things as completely alien. So I thought we'd have a go at breaking them down, explaining them, and bringing it back to boxing basics. So here we are attempting to answer the question, what are purse bids? Purse is the pot essentially that is going to get split between the two boxers. Now, for the majority of fights, this doesn't go to formal purse bids because a promoter will pay their fighter whatever fee they negotiate, they'll pay their opposition, they'll pay the opponent a certain fee, and these sorts of things happen up and down on undercards and even headline acts, headline cards, headline fighters up and down the country, up and down across the world, basically. When it comes to formal purse bids, it is normally the decision of the sanctioning body. So, in the case of the example I'm going to talk about, the WBC, then obviously that's the one that have sanctioned this mandatory, they've enforced Tyson Fury to defend his WBC heavyweight title against his mandatory challenger, Dillian Whyte. So, in order for the WBC to force this fight through, they basically offer purse bids. They offer the promoters the chance, and it doesn't have to just be the promoters of the fighters involved. Could be any other promoter getting involved and wanting to stage this fight. Normally, it is just the fighters promoters because obviously they're the ones with a bit more interest, a specific interest in those fighters. So it gets opened. Any of these registered promoters can bid. Basically, what they feel the fight is worth to host it, and the highest bid is the winner. So in this case, we had Queensbury Promotions, obviously represented by Frank Warren, on the side of Tyson Fury, and Matchroom with Eddie Hearn bidding on behalf of Dillian Whyte, essentially to make him the home fighter and give him sort of those comforts and those advantages. Now, what is important to note is that both sides or neither side know what the other is going to bid. So basically, they get the message from the WBC, probably Telegram, knowing them, but you'd hope an email. They get that notification, get the news that this is going to purse bids. They've got to bid on this day or by this particular deadline, and they go away, do their sums, do their calculations, think, right, what can we earn out of this? Like, what is it going to cost to put on? What the production costs, the undercard, all these additional things on top of the purse that they're going to pay Tyson Fury and Dillian Whyte in this case. So, those of you that don't know, Queensbury Promotions won the purse bid with a bid of 41 or approximately $41 million, compared to Matchroom's 32, I believe, 32 and a bit million. Both absolutely huge sums of money. And where this breaks away from being crystal clear, like many things in boxing, on the face of it, that amount of money, that $41 million, is being split between Fury and Whyte. That is it. The 41 million that they've lodged, that they have bid, that is getting split between the two fighters. Now, where the first bit of controversy comes is that this is still, I believe, under some sort of arbitration because Dillian Whyte is not happy with the 80% to the 20% ratio that the WBC have declared. A few reasons for this. Obviously, he's not happy getting 20%. He's getting a quarter of what his opponent is going to get for doing the same job. Now, the reason for that is the champion, in this case Tyson Fury, normally gets the lion's share. Generally, 75% to 25% or 70-30 split, even 65 to 35 is sort of seen as acceptable. I don't believe 80-20 is unprecedented, but I can't think of any other examples, or definitely no recent examples where that's been the case. It's a bit of a sticking point, because depending on who you're a fan of or how you see it, that is the split that the WBC have decided. Dillian Whyte has a chance to earn millions and millions of dollars, probably more than he's ever earned for a single fight. He's got a chance to fight for a world title, so why wouldn't he just accept the short end of the stick short term, hopefully win the fight, and then be in a much more lucrative position following a victory? Obviously, the reality of that is somewhat different. Whyte's not happy. He believes he's getting shafted, he's been mistreated or badly treated by the WBC, despite having sort of campaigned for their title for what seems like about a decade. He's fought several WBC international title bouts, paid sanctioning fees along the way, lining the pockets of the WBC. He's now the mandatory challenger. He feels he should be compensated more fairly than he has been. On the flip side of that, Tyson Fury is a massive international draw now, particularly in America, where he's promoted by Top Rank. He's a huge face of ESPN boxing. He's had massive success financially and in terms of boxing, with wins over Deontay Wilder, as well as a few high-profile tune-up fights over in the States. Where I will come down is that that's not really the business of the WBC. They shouldn't necessarily be thinking that, okay, Fury is worth this much money, he's the bigger draw, he's worth this amount of the pot, whatever it may be. So again, this is where boxing's waters are continually muddied. The relationship between sanctioning bodies and promoters very much up for debate as to how healthy that is, what each side's getting out, who's the boss in this situation, who's actually pulling the strings, all these sorts of things which are not going to be discussed in too much detail here. I'm trying to get to the essential nature of purse bids. So if we jump back a little bit, ignore all of that muddy water, imagine they're crystal clear, imagine boxing is straightforward for a second, and I'm going to even make it more simple for my mental maths. Imagine the purse that Queensberry have lodged, the winning purse bid. They've said, right, we will pay $40 million to these fighters. So at 80% of that, Fury's going to get 4 times what Dillian Whyte's going to get. So Dillian Whyte getting his 20% of that 40 is going to earn approximately $8 million. Now, we know that he's going to get a little more than that, because the purse bid's nearer 41 million than 40 for my math, so 8 and a bit million. Tyson Fury's going to get 4 times that, so he's going to get potentially $32 million. And that should be the end of that. So purse bids are declared by the WBC, WBA, IBF, other one I've missed out, WBO, probably IBO, WBF, all these other and multiple world titles that apparently exist. Also worth noting that it's not just world titles. This might get called for a mandatory for a European title defence or British title defence. British Border Control would do exactly the same sort of thing. Whether it's the promoters or the fighters involved or anybody else wanting to bid to host that, if they think it's going to be lucrative for them to have a fight on their show. I think the further down the pyramid you go, it's obviously a bigger commitment in terms of like trying to get a British title fight on a local show, something like that. It's obviously, again, all to do with the business side of the sport, which we try and avoid. We try and concentrate on what goes on in the ring. But it is a topic of interest for many people. And that, in short, or relatively short, it is what purse bids are all about. If you found that waffle interesting, give us a like, give us a subscribe. We appreciate the support, appreciate any feedback on the videos, any content we do. We really do appreciate a bit of honest feedback, and hopefully that has helped clear up the issue of purse bids for many of you.